Okay, hello everyone. I just wanted to make a nice video about teaching in China, and particularly saving as a teacher. So I know myself and a lot of people, we can save thousands of pounds each month. It's just dependent on your setup. It may take a little while to get to the point where you're set up enough to be able to do that, but it's certainly possible to make a really decent amount of um, salary and save it comfortably in jobs that are, well, some jobs are easier than others. It depends on your level of professionalism and also um, how ambitious you are. I guess, I know some people, and I'll talk about it later, that perhaps they work in the north of China and they will take a more relaxed job in, say, a kindergarten, where they can have a break during the day. Not to say kindergartens are an easy place to work in, but as far as accountability and the meeting standards is a lot less intense than an extremely professional working environment. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was job availability here. Um, so it's of course dependent on your teaching and experience. Can you come here with little to no experience and um, secure a position in a top school? Probably not. You need to work on it. For example, when I come to China, I was working 4 years ago in a training center, and now I think most training centers they do not exist. So training centers used to be, you work maybe 2 nights to 3 nights through the week. They give you all the lesson plans. They give you all the materials you need to teach the classes. They give you training about exactly how they want things, and then you would go in and teach the lessons. So, anyone with a degree could come over and teach in a training center. So these are all closed now, so they don't exist. So I can score that one off. Um, for the most part, they don't exist. You probably could come over and work in a kindergarten with just a degree, and maybe in some bilingual schools with just a degree, they would let you in dependent on your degree. I think maybe you get into a better one. Like if you come with teaching experience, then of course you have a different set of outcomes and options available to you. So of course it is just post epidemic here, so flights have opened back up, and it's quite easy to move in and out. I just left for some travel recently, and of course you can do that if you like. So that option is here, and it's certainly more safe. As far as job availability, of course, there are far more opportunities. I think with training centers being closed, then slightly less opportunities, maybe more in favor of people who have more teaching and experience. But you could go work in a school or some international schools, maybe even bilingual schools with little to no experience. Um, I think because a lot of foreigners left, a lot of foreign teachers left because of the epidemic, and of course, principals need teachers, and um, there's a lot of opportunities for people who are looking to come here. Say, I know, for example, some top bilingual schools, they hired maybe some primary teachers with, little to no experience. I'm not saying the standards from what I heard are being met to the highest degree, but they got the job and they get the opportunity because they are here. And these are schools with like top salaries, plus housing allowance, which like equates to about $4,000 per month or more, with like little to no experience. Um, so yeah, there's definitely opportunity for that if you are willing to come here to take the risk. And the next thing I thought, yeah, moving up into a professional environment. So if you have little to no experience, um, of course, what you can do is you can get your PGCE here. That opens up more doors. It's about a 9-month online course. You can do that through various different universities. And it's manageable. I done it when I was here. I worked in a training center. I done the PGCE, and then I moved into an international school. to get the experience that I wanted. And yeah, like after that, I moved into a top bilingual school and now a top IB school. So my goal was to move into a professional environment extremely quickly. So within 18 months, because I got the PGCE and my previous experience, which is a lot of different things, get into a top school position fairly quickly. Whereas before, I feel maybe you would have had to have 5 to 10 years experience working in a top school or working uh, back home in schools and all that before you could get into these positions. So it's definitely something worth pursuing. You could come for a few years to China, step your game up, get a PGCE, QTLS, which is another online qualification, which gives you a teaching license. And that would be a great way to expand your skill base. Perhaps other ways you could study. I know there's acting courses online. Lots to learn about different uh, teaching methodologies. And like, for example, you can use the IB website to get access to lots of different courses. Maybe you could take a maths teaching course to get that qualification, and that would open some more doors to you as well. So there's plenty of ways to expand your skill base and improve your professional development here as well. Yeah, so I think like if you are coming to China, the only thing I would like to mention is towards meeting standards, have consideration towards meeting standards. I feel like for the most part, although there are cultural differences, um, it mainly comes down towards meeting standard. Everything I feel is largely not personal. If you're in a top school and it is an IB school, the standards are really high. And if you're in so I'm in Shanghai, I work in a top school. The standards are really high. It's IB. Everything needs to be almost perfect. So like just meeting the standards is difficult enough. So I mean, and I see a lot of people if they struggle with it, then it's uh it's it can be difficult for them. So I think yeah, IB standards, you have to have consideration towards meeting standards and just the expectations of the job. Um, there's a lot of different variables to deal with, and the more professional the school, the higher the standard and reputation of the school, the more accountability will be placed on you, and it is largely something that will be requiring you to be independent with, of course, some training. So that speaks to your own professionalism and expectations that you must have for yourself, and also expectations of the school. So, different school will have different working environment differences. They will have environmental differences in different schools. So, for example, if you're under Chinese management, uh, they may have a different way of approaching the how they allocate tasks, a different type of management structure. They may have a different management style. Uh, whereas in a foreign school that it may be more laid back, less accountability. An IB school, for example, under foreign management, maybe laid back, could be a developing school. So, maybe English levels are lower, maybe you'd have to um, teach more um, differentiated if it is a lower developing school, for example. So I think you just need to understand the school you're going into, which is one of the main things. If it is, like I said, Chinese management and it's in a busy city, uh, maybe it will be uh, very direct and maybe not so much of a focus on praise and formality, whereas like a school in the north, an easygoing kind of kindergarten, maybe more informal and relaxed, and a good place to start and understand the approach to teaching here and the life here. So yeah, you can make a lot of money for sure. You need to get the right setup, and of course, uh, some people consider tutoring as well. That can or can be acceptable depending on your school. But you can make it is could become a second business. I know, like I met a Chinese teacher, for example, and she was tutoring 10 hours per week and making more than what she did in her own school. And if you tutor a lot and it's okay, then you can make a decent amount of additional income off that, which is like a side business if you want to do that. But it just depends on the setup that you get and being aware of how to approach it. But that depends on your contacts and your school.